Welcome to the Kelly and Erinn Show. We're so glad you're here.
We're a mother-daughter duo and founders of Kelly's Bake Shop. We built a nationally recognized brand, faced unimaginable challenges, and have chosen to rise again and again, all in the pursuit of a life aligned with truth, freedom, and love.
Each week, we're sharing real, unfiltered conversations about entrepreneurship, healing, and expanding through personal growth, and choosing joy, even when life gets tough.
This is your invitation to come home to yourself. Let's get into it. Welcome back to the Kelly and Erinn Show. We're so happy that you guys are here joining us today. And we thought today we would share a little story that honestly still gives us chills to this day with how serendipitous this story is that we're gonna share, because we did all of this stuff months before finding out that we were going to be losing Burlington. And this is the story of how we found our beautiful, gorgeous location in beautiful downtown Oakville. So I think, Mom, we need to start it off back in like the summer of 2024, which was just about a year ago now. It's not that long ago. And
Crazy.
let's just start sharing this beautiful story of kind of how it all began.
We went out for a coffee date and in Thornbury. It was July 31st.
Yep.
Right? And it was something that we didn't normally do even on a weekly basis. It was, I don't know, once a month. We kind of meet like this just to have a break from our homes and our business and stuff. And when I walked in there, I was just sitting with Erinn and I had already been thinking about it for a few days. And I just blurted it out to her. I said, what would it look like for us to have a second location? No planning, no nothing. It was just the words that came out of me. And I had been doing some work. I just want to back this up a bit with two different energy workers and people that have just been working through like my growth, my personal growth, the things I want to become and evolve and be, and the best human I can possibly be, and etc. So anyways, they had both said to me that the timing was coming up, which was towards like August, September, to expand. There was this expansion stuff that was happening for me. And so here I am sitting with Erinn at the coffee shop, and I guess maybe seeds had been planted. And I went like, what is it going to look like for us to open up a second location? And like, what do you think about even Oakville? Because Oakville would be just the easiest thing for us to do. It's 20 minutes away from Burlington. We can navigate this. We can figure out production. We can do production from Burlington. It's all good. We went onto realtor.ca and I started looking first, and I'm not seeing anything for some reason. And Erinn's looking at the same time on her laptop, and she goes, but Mom, like, what about this? It just came on the market the day before.
24 hours prior. Incredible. This place came on the market and it was 1,200 square foot existing bakery. It was like a franchise bakery that was there that decided to go out of business. It just didn't work out for them there. And we looked at each other and just said, are you kidding me right now? Like, and it had a full basement, the whole thing. So Kelly, in typical Kelly fashion, was just like, you know what? I'm just going to get on the phone. I'm just going to call the real estate agent or the broker on the phone. So we jumped on the phone, and the broker we spoke to, he said, okay. He's like, if you guys are interested, I would highly recommend coming to see it ASAP. I've already had 14 interested parties and 6 showings in the last 24 hours. This place is going to go really, really quick. And we knew that it was going to go quick because downtown Oakville is such a beautiful downtown core. They have done such an incredible job at making the whole community down there just feel like a gorgeous outdoor mall. They've invested so much money into that downtown, and they've done just such a beautiful job. So we knew that this location was going to go really, really quick because it was about 4 or 5 doors down from Lululemon. It was close to Pilot Coffee. There's a new Starbucks going in there. So it's just like a total vibe going in there. So we went in there a day and a half later on August 2nd of 2024. And we went and we saw the space. And I just remember looking at Kelly throughout the time of us going through it and saying, oh my gosh, this is going to be our next location. This is going to be our second location for Kelly's Bake Shop. Like, holy crap. This is so serendipitous and so effortless to actually find this space.
It was. And when we walked into, it was, very dark. Their colors were black and purple and very, very heavy. Even the ceiling, everything was just blacked out. And the counter was odd. And I didn't like the the feng shui of it, of how it just channeled you into this washroom. Like it didn't lead the energy well through the business to be successful. So, yeah, we were just so excited. And the realtor, we told him too that, whatever, do all the things, they'll look into us and stuff like that. And I mean, before you know it, they were very excited to have us as the tenants of this place. So yeah, it worked out amazing. And what was also nice too about this location was the big heavy stuff was done, like the triple sink and the plumbing, things that were like necessary for doing hospitality. And so those big expenses were already done. There was a washroom that we decided, we converted that into the walk-in freezer. There was things that we had to have. So to condense everything into basically 1,250 approximately square feet, plus the basement level, was like, for us, it was the challenge because we went, this is how we are going to have future locations.
Exactly. Yeah. And that was kind of what we were testing Oakville out as, is this smaller retail location, this smaller model for Kelly's Bake Shops in the future, to be able to then expand into other areas in Ontario and beyond. But I did want to talk about the actual build out process for us at 259 Lakeshore Road East in Oakville. We got possession of the unit on September 15th of 2024, and we opened 3 months later. It was absolutely incredible. We had an incredible designer, Lisa Fromm, and an incredible contractor, Mark Davies, who helped us take this dream into a reality. And it was so much work, but at the same time, it was exceptionally effortless. Like, things just kept flowing and flowing and flowing. And we felt very supported through the whole process, which was really, really cool, because I feel like maybe in the past, we would have thought that, things need to be difficult and, you need to struggle and it needs to be this like resistant sort of energy. But we just kept trusting and trusting and trusting, like we have been now with the Burlington news and all that, and just really allowing things to unfold the way that they were meant to unfold. So we opened in 90 days, which, for commercial reno, any reno for that matter, is nothing short of a miracle. It was incredible. And I think that we designed the space with such intention. And Kelly and I mean, we've traveled a lot of places across North America and beyond, and have really picked out some key things that we've really loved within certain other hospitality businesses that we wanted to bring into any future Kelly's Bake Shops. And one of them was one of our favorite places in Palm Beach, Florida, called Celis Juice Bar. We love those guys. We love that business. And what we loved about what they had created was that they had all of their staff basically facing forward, so that when customers would walk in the door, they had the ability to actually greet them and give them beautiful hospitality. All of like the workstations essentially were set up in a way so that the staff would be standing behind it, thus like looking at the front door. And it was just such a great way of laying out a space that we said to ourselves in that moment, we were like, okay, any future locations, this is what we have to like integrate into it, because for us, hospitality is just a massive part of our business. The quality of our baked goods is one thing, but the hospitality is just as important as well. So that was really, really fun and really important for us to like bring those certain intentional elements into the space.
I think with having Lisa Fromm as our interior designer, she was like just this catalyst to create this incredible like ease, as you were saying, Erinn, because she had the foresight more so than we did. Like, she had the design element part of it, and we had the practical, from Pinterest boards and vision boards and everything else that we want to do. And, like you're saying too, hanging out with Celis Juice Bar in Palm Beach, was pivotal for us to be able to run the business with less people. So the way that Burlington was this long strolling sort of thing, and then there's a wall, and most of the staff are hidden behind the wall. And with Oakville, though, it's this forward facing, as you say. I call it like stadium seating, because everyone's looking at the baseball game or the football game or whatever. You're all looking forward at it. And so, yeah, all the workstations are layered back to create this intentional space to be able to, like you're saying, greet the customers, to engage, make eye contact with them right when they walk in through the doors. And yeah, there's nobody is missed.
Yeah, exactly.
And they can work so efficiently. So if there's other girls tasking or doing other things, packing boxes and stuff for our deliveries and stuff, but they can still have their eyes forward. And anyways, it's turned out to be the best thing we ever did. Obviously, in hindsight, on December 15th when we opened Oakville, and literally 86 days later, we got the notice from Burlington landlord, the developer, that we had to be out in 60 days. So that 86-day window was our chance to breathe, celebrate opening Oakville, get our feet wet, get Oakville going and stuff. And we actually thought, like, by the end of this year, 2025, we were going to go for number 3. Like, we're on this growth path now. Meanwhile, we're shifting gears and having to replace Flagship. It's definitely sent us on our butts, that's for sure.
And like we didn't realize it then when we opened up Oakville, but Oakville has really saved us, in the last few months of us getting the news of Burlington closing and all of that. We just have kept saying to ourselves, thank God for Oakville. Like, thank God for Oakville. Like, the grace of having a second home ready for us has just been unbelievable. Like, we literally could not have planned any of this better. And this was not planned at all. We were always going to have Oakville as a second location. But I think what the coolest thing for me has been throughout this whole process of creating and building and dreaming and visioning this new space, because Mom, you and I are both very creative people, is to actually have that become reality in such an intentional way. Like, you look at the renderings of what Lisa created for us and then what the reality of it is in 3D. And I mean, it looks better than the renderings, and the renderings look pretty damn freaking awesome.
But they were so accurate. I want to add that.
So accurate.
So accurate. Yeah.
It was so incredible to actually watch that transform. And I remember walking into Oakville the day before we opened to the public. And I will add too that, like, the week leading up to us opening Oakville was like a mad dash. It was insane. We probably had 15 or 20 trades guys in there every single day, from electrical painters, our millwork guys, our contractor Mark, like anyone and everyone that you could imagine was there. Our signage, everything was happening, honestly, in that last week. And I remember walking in there on Saturday, December 14th, the day before we opened, and I was going to be meeting a couple of our staff there to just start like setting up some stuff. And I remember walking in there and just saying, holy shit, we did this. Like, This is what an incredible accomplishment to be so proud of, and to really sit in that and say, oh my God, we actually just created this whole thing. And I think that's been the most beautiful lesson and maybe realization for myself within all of this, is just the power, like the power that we have as human beings in general to just manifest things and to actually create something out of nothing. And that's been really, really cool.
The power of creation is what our inherent contract is with the universe, with God, whatever you want to call it. And when we stifle it, when we hustle our lives so much and push and hustle, like, you are not in a creative mode, and these things aren't going to flow through you. I really believe that having that coffee date in Thornbury at Good Grief Coffee, we're going to shout out to Good Grief, to have that coffee date and allow us to just connect outside of business, outside of our homes, outside of the gardens, away from the dogs and guys and all the stuff, right? Cats and everything. And it allows you to dream, and it allows you to it allows you to create a flow of really the downloads from the creator, right? And that's what we are. So once we learn how to tap into that creation, and we tap into the fabric and the tapestry of what life should be, it's just hopping on that stream, that river, that flow. And, there you go, right? You're into this world of creation. And when we were creating the design for it, when we saw how the counter was the existing counter that we inherited, and how the business was run this way, the previous business, where we wanted it run this way with, that forward facing counter, and instead theirs ran this way. And so it was a long, skinny bowling alley that funneled into this, a bathroom door. And I could feel that. And that's what's so important, is for us to slow our lives down enough to be able to make these huge decisions that, in that case with that business, maybe it would have turned out to be successful if they had changed even how it was designed and laid out differently, instead of black and purple and the counter going towards the bathroom. Like, they maybe could have, created some success for themselves. But regardless, it's understanding what two you're creating this for. And for us, it's creating it for like you guys, for the customers, for our staff to enjoy their space. Like, are we making it feel beautiful for them when they do the 4, 6, 8, 10 hours, whatever the shifts are that they're doing? Does the space inspire them as well? So we want people to feel like they're being inspired. And that when we designed it, it was, how do we make this look like Beverly Hills Rodeo Drive to match Oakville, right? Like
I
the
love that.
wood strap ceiling. That was like, no, we had to do that. It was not going to be ever just, a drywalled flat ceiling. For me, I could see and feel how the wabi sabi lights with the wood strapping, and what's that going to feel for people to come in the doors, right? And anyways, I think that this was a true lesson for us, because with 401 Brant Street, Burlington one, when we built that out in 2012, it was like, I don't want to swear, so I was going to say like that camel shit thing that I say. And it's like camel shit and bus tickets. Like my father used to say that thing when it's just a hack, like a patchwork of saving old, saving money, putting this in, doing this'll do, and we weren't doing this with Oakville. It was an intentional polished gem that people could be so proud to be affiliated with and buy treats from and be inspired and walk away like they invested into their health and they invested into their joy, and that's what we wanted.
And yeah, like we have all the same treats that we had in Burlington as well too. So we have all of our cookies, cupcakes, brownies, we have our ice cream, we have our beautiful barista machine. So it's the same products, it's just in a different layout. It's just a bit of like a different vibe than what Burlington was. And I will say too that being there on the grand opening of Oakville was on another level. Like, I want to just talk about the grand opening quickly, because you and we were getting our makeup done that morning. So we wanted to look great for photos and videos and all that stuff. And I remember driving into Oakville that morning from Burlington, and we were driving along Lakeshore, and we were like, okay, like let's just drive past the bake shop there, the new bake shop in Oakville, and just see if there's anybody waiting outside. Like, I doubt anybody's waiting. We got there like an hour and a half before we opened, and we drive by, and I'm like, oh my God, Mom, there's already like 20 people waiting outside, like an hour and a half before we open. Oh my gosh, what did we just create?
Cold, wet snow day.
It was like gross outside. I just remember looking at each other, and we just started crying. And I was like, what did we just create? Oh my gosh. And then by the time we opened our doors, we did like a ribbon cutting with the mayor and our city councilor there and the Chamber of Commerce. And it was amazing. We had almost 200 people waiting in line for us to open, like Kelly says, on a very cold, rainy, drizzly sort of day. And it was just such a testament to the love and the integrity and the connection and the actual impact that our business has had on so many people, and how all these incredible customers just want to be a part of Kelly's Bake Shop. They just want to be a part of the vibe that we've created. And it was just such an incredible moment.
Honor.
Like just
An honor.
like a complete honor to just say, wow, like, thank you so much. Like, it just means the absolute world to us that you would show up, you would wait in line, because I don't think I would wait in line if I was a customer. I would say, no, I'll just go back when it's a little bit quieter. I don't need to wait in line for 3 hours. But it was just an incredible experience overall. And we can't wait to do it again, because we're going to be doing it again, I'm sure, soon in the future. Wink, wink. So. Yeah, we hope so, to replace Burlington. That would be amazing.
I want to add too that, opening up another location or even opening up your own business, okay? Opening up your own small business, it's no small feat. And what I want to share with is that we've definitely, taken on a lot of struggles from it. Like, it's not just all beautiful and rosy and stuff. And as much as we talk about having a designer and doing a build out and all this stuff, it all takes money to do that. And we had some challenges again with our bank last year. And just because too, for the last like 5 years going through the COVID era of 2020 and 2021 and lockdowns and loss of income and different things that we've been a part of for the last number of years. And your financial statements too are only as good as, the money running through your books and the money that you're generating and the sales that you're doing and stuff. And so we can relate to everybody who's afraid and cautious and thinking twice about doing your one or your first location or even your second, it can be really daunting, and you can talk yourself out of it. And I'm sort of famous for that because I think I mentioned in a previous podcast about growing up with lack and growing up with a household that money wasn't abundant and money was always a problem. So but I've been working through that and becoming very conscious about what I'm holding back on, because whatever I hold back on now is for me, I'm holding back on my joy that I get to experience from sharing this dream and sharing the things that we want to do for you guys. And obviously it's needed. And I really believe that there is this moment where you awaken to not giving a fuck any longer.
Yes.
And you just rip that Band-Aid off and you go like, so what is going to be written on my tombstone? Here lies a woman who held back and didn't open her second and third and fourth location of Kelly's Bake Shop. What a shame.
Because
She was afraid of, because she was scared of the investment, or she was afraid of borrowing money from the bank.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And like, what a shame for us to live a life that way when we're not truly just unleashing our power that we can give out to the world, because I believe that this is inspiration. So by Erinn and I going through what we've gone through, and as these episodes come out too of this podcast, is us speaking so openly and so honestly and so real and authentically, that we were scared, guys. Like, we were afraid to open location 2 for everything we had gone through for the past 5 years. And I mean, too, on top of it all, too, going through a divorce for me too in 2022, like that was another monetary hit. And so there was a lot of things that go on behind the scenes that many of you are not even aware of. And I just wanted to share that Erinn and I are just a mom and daughter. We're just living our best life, the best that we're able to. But every day we are intentionally learning more. Yeah. We are intentionally expanding, evolving, looking at life with a different perspective and going, so what would it look like? Like, okay, so it's going to cost X amount of money. Okay, it's going to cost this. It's going to do that. Why not? Right. And anyway, so I just wanted to share that because life isn't just a bowl of cherries. Life isn't just rosy. And there's always this being pulled, the ebb and flow of this, the polarity of good, bad, scared, living in fear, living in love, living with darkness, living with light. Like we have these polarities within all of us. And I think that this was probably my biggest lesson, to stand on my own 2 feet, to being out of my marriage and going, you know what? Yeah, I did it.
I can do it. Yeah. Exactly. Exactly.
And like, that was a confidence builder to go, okay, so when are we going to do 10 more? Right. And figure that out. But we've had to first replace Burlington.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. We've gone from 1 location to 2 locations to now 1 location, and then going to 2 to a million from there. But I think that that's a really, really beautiful point. And I think it's a really important note as well too. But yeah, like this whole process has been such a journey of self-discovery, self-awareness, and just becoming better and better human beings. And again, I said this in another episode, but just being an entrepreneur is the most incredible form of personal development anyone can ever go through, because it'll rip you apart, put you back together, and show you all of your weaknesses and all of your strengths as well too. But yeah, I think that's a beautiful place to wrap up this episode here, Kel.
I just have one more question though for you.
Okay, great.
What did you become more aware of? I'm asking you a question through this whole process of opening Oakville. I think it's important for us to hear what a 34-year-old at the time, right? Because you're 35 now. So a 34-year-old, what did you become more aware of? What was it? Because I want to add this too. Erinn has incredible organizational skills, guys. So she is this logistical, organizational tank. I can't, like an armored tank that just plows through and gets the job done, and has this vision to see everything from not even a 180. She's like, woo, 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 all the way around, right? Of who to see everything on the back of her head too, at all times, and organizes from the contractors to the designers to the products to like the staffing to everything. All right. And I'm just talking very basic right now, but you have this incredible skill, and it really is a beautiful talent. And I just want to ask you, in this transition, was there anything that you pulled away from Oakville? What was maybe your biggest awareness? What was your biggest lesson, your biggest awareness that you infused into your soul as a really positive imprint?
I think I really learned my capacity, and I really learned and I became more and more aware of my power from a creative standpoint, and my power just from my capacity, because I've known within myself that I can take on a lot and I can do, but to actually create something like this and actually have the capacity to see it from start to finish and then set up the whole team for everyone to get there and get trained and have the logistics of the baking and all of that kind of stuff. It was a lot of mental capacity to move through it. But at the same time, like it was fine moving through it. Like I felt this, like it just flowed, like it flowed very effortlessly for me. But I think I really became more aware of my capacity and my ability to do things, to do tough things. Like I can push a little bit more.
And that's what you grew through.
Yeah.
So instead of, because I know both of us have said this over the last 13 years, is, oh my God, I can't take on anymore. I'm so
Yeah.
overwhelmed. Or, it's a classic entrepreneur, business owner thing.
Yeah.
We default to being overwhelmed. But I think that you shifted gears and turned into this gratitude
Yeah.
and saying, whoa, I'm actually been only functioning at maybe 40% all this time, right?
Right.
Like maybe I actually have this whole 60% either that I haven't tapped into,
Yeah, exactly.
But like, so that's a good thing, because
Absolutely.
that's a confidence builder too, right?
Mhm.
So to come into your confidence going, yeah, hell yeah, I can say yes now 10 times over.
I could do location 2, 3, 4, 5,
Yeah.
no problem.
At the same time.
Yep. I honestly could, because now I know like the method, and I know this, the order of sequence. I know what needs to happen in order to get to that point. So I can just copy and paste that for future.
So what was holding you back then was fear,
The fear of the unknown.
the unknown.
Yep.
Yes. Fear of the unknown.
100%.
And that's it. So
100%.
because now that
So
you've actualized that, you've
yeah.
experienced that, then you go, okay, I can do this now with my eyes closed.
Yeah.
And nothing can stop me.
Absolutely. So, okay, so I'm going to turn the question on you, since you
Okay.
posed the question to me. What
Mhm.
was your biggest lesson, your biggest awareness? Because you are the visionary. You can see something way better than I can see it and actually say, oh, yeah, no, this is going to go here. This is going to go here. This is how this is going to get laid out. And I'm like, oh, wow, that actually is such a good way of thinking about that. So, is there anything within yourself that you've learned just more about who you are and your abilities and your capabilities and all that through this process?
I definitely gained a great deal of confidence with the design aspect of it and trusting myself more, that I don't need to default to other people and lean on other people. And I really do have a very good vision of how things should look and feel. And because my thing has always been about how are people going to be received. So it's the ability to put myself in a future vision of what Oakville Kelly's Bake Shop was going to be like, and what it's going to be like to be a customer walking through the doors for the first time. That's and to not settle for an it'll do situation. So like my voice and my design work and the intuitive things that come through me, almost like a clairvoyant ability to be able to see this manifest itself. I will stand behind myself much more. So I'm not saying I'm perfect at it, but I believe that things are beyond money now. Like I think that as we're moving into this new world, a new earth, and a new way of looking at things, it's not about the monetary value of things that you're investing into it. It's the experience that you're going to give to people. It's serving people. And if it costs 100,000 or 500,000, honestly, it's like it's the end result of what's required to give what I believe that I'm on this earth to serve through.
Oh.
That's is my method of service.
I got chills. That was great. Well, on that note, I think we're going to wrap up this episode. Hope you guys enjoyed listening to the story of how Oakville was birthed, how it was created, how it was manifested, and how it became a 3D living, breathing entity selling tons of cupcakes right now as we speak. Thank you so much for tuning in. And please, if you loved this episode, please subscribe to our podcast and leave us a review. We would be so freaking grateful if you took 10 seconds and just left us a review. It would mean the absolute world to us. And we hope to see you at our next episode. Until next time.